Welcome you all to the prefabricated structures. Today we are going to see the new topic, prefabricated components. So we have attached here about the syllabus and outcomes of this particular unit. In this unit we are going to discuss about the structural components. So the main topic is structural components. We know what are the structural components generally. So we are going to discuss in the perspective of prefabrication. So large panel system, roof and floor slabs, wall panels, beam, columns, and shear walls. So these are some of the structural components. We are going to discuss how the behavior and how it has been processed. So how it has been constructed. So the entire thing will be discussed in this unit. And then outcome. So after finishing this unit, what is the outcome? So you can know about the panel system, slabs, and how it has been connected. So you can gain that knowledge for designing the prefabricated elements. Okay. So structural systems. So this is the first topic of this unit. You can see here commonly we know what is meant by structure. So which carry the loads. So same way we are giving here the definition as which carries the loads, and we are going to design it. So first we need to know what are the structural components. We know commonly slab, beam and columns and footings. So this is generally we known from DRC, but in this perspective we are going to discuss some another members also, wall panels and joist. So what is mean by these things? So slab is an horizontal member. We know it carries the dead load, live load, and it is transferred to the beam. So what is mean by joist? These are secondary beams. It is like secondary beams which transmit the load to the main beam. It get the load from the planks. So we will discuss about these things in briefly in next slide. Okay. So next is beams. Normally we know that main beam and secondary beam. So same thing we are going to discuss here. And then wall panels. So wall panels is nothing but which acts as a structure here. Okay. Previously we are use some bricks or some other hollow bricks which is referred to be an wall. So it covers the outer surface. In this the concrete is used and the wall panel is been prepared. So how it is behaves like that we will see. And then columns. So columns are vertical members which transmit the load to foundation. It gets a load from the beams. So these things we will discuss briefly in upcoming slides. So this is general view about structural components. So the roofing or flooring system consists of RC planks and joist. So RC planks and joist is nothing but joist. I mentioned you joist is an secondary beam. So planks is an horizontal member which behaves as a slab. Okay. So we are going to take the slab and we are going to erect it. So the joist will carry the loads and it distribute to the main beams. So this is the concept. And the planks are casted to a standard size. So there is a standard size for plank. Okay, and they are connected with RCC joist. So after the plank is been placed, and then it is connected to the joist. Okay, at a regular interval. And then the loads from planks are transmitted to RCC joist and then to main beams. So load is transmitted to the RCC joist and then it transferred to the main beams and then to column. So similarly the load behavior will be like that. And then the main beams are provided with a channel 10 centimeter section projections on the necessary size with spacing of joist. So the main beams are provided at a section of 10 centimeter. So wherever we need to go for spacing, wherever we need to go for beams, we need a certain spacing. So here the joist is behaving as a secondary beam. So we need to go with the regular spacing and it transfer the load to the main beam. And then the joists are seated in the channels and bolted together. So we are just placing everything. So we need a proper connection. Otherwise every elements behave in a separate way. So for that we are connecting with the bolts. And then the load from slab to main beam will come as a point load and typical frame with the different loadings are analyzed. So we are assuming it as a point load and depend upon the frame we are analyzing the loads. Okay. So the next one is slab. So this is the first topic. We know what is meant by slab. It is an horizontal member. Here we are going to discuss in the perspective of roofing slab and flooring slab in a prefabricated system. So the first point is the roofing slab or flooring slab system consists of planks which is supported over RCC joist. So the planks is an horizontal member. So it is a slab and it is supported under by the RCC joist. So it is a secondary beam. And then the width of these slabs mainly 0.5 meter. Basically it is 0.5 meter and it is varies according to the pre-stressing or normal prefabrication. Depending upon that, the length may be vary. If it is not a pre-stressing, the length is up to 5 meter. And then the planks can be made in any one of the following form, with or without pre-stressing. So we can go according to pre-stressing technique or also without pre-stressing. Okay, so here we are seeing that some of the span, so hollow core section, double T section or channel section, lightweight concrete roofing slab and solid rectangular plan. So these are some of the site images. So you can see here a hollow core slab. So this first one is hollow core slab. We can see some holes present in the slab. So these are just placed in the top portion. It behaves as an horizontal member where it has been connected with the joist and the load will be transferred like that. So wherever it is necessary, we will go for side concrete. Okay. Wait பண்ணுங்க. So in this second image, you can see that it looks like a double T. We will have some single T section also. So here if it is goes with pre-stressing, then it behaves with the length of 8 meter or more than that. And the width also varies because without pre-stressing we go for less shape and size. Okay. If it is pre-stress, then we go for maximum length and size varies. Okay, the dimension varies for pre-stressing and without pre-stressing. And then lightweight concrete. So here we can see some solid objects which is lightweight, can be a lightweight material because when we go for minimum loads, we does not need more how can we say means more number of thickness. So to avoid that we can place some lightweight concrete blocks also. So that is said here. Okay. And then joist. So the joist are designed as a small beam loaded from planks, and these joists transmit the load to main beams through channels provided in the main beams. In this joist, triangle shaped stirrups are provided to get proper bonding or connection with the planks. These joists are casted partially in the factory. In these points they are mentioning about the joist. So joist which takes the load from the planks and it transferred the load to the main beam, and the joist which have the triangle shaped stirrups, so to get the proper bonding and to get the proper connection with the planks, so they are going for triangle shaped stirrups. And then the joists are casted partially in the factory. So these things are mainly done in the factory. Okay, so it is done in the manufacturing factory. And then the apex portion, so it is nothing but top portion of the triangle stirrup will be projecting from the casted top surface. So they are mentioning the top portion will looks like a triangle stirrup, and it is used for connecting with the plank. Okay, so in this projecting, a connecting rod will be inserted. So we know that planks have some triangle stirrups at top surface, so it is used with a connecting rod, and additional base from planks also inserted. So the planks have additional base. So combining it with the joist, we can make it as a monolithic action. So this will give monolithic action, as well as the plank will act as a continuous slab over the joist. So that is mentioned in the last point. So you can see here they have mentioned you about joist. I think you can see here. So this is a ceiling joist. So these members are said to be a ceiling joist. Okay, so these carry the load from this slab. So this member which is placed here, horizontal member, will be set as plank, and this distribute the load to this joist, and this joist will transfer it to the main beams. Okay, so this is a concept about joist. And here these things in steel buildings, so generally we will see these things in railway stations and also in bus stands. So these are said to be joist. Okay, so these are said to be a joist. So here we have some more examples. So here it is a concrete joist, and then planks. So here you can see this is the plank, this is the plank. So it is here they have gone for brick plank. Okay, here it is a concrete one. So next is we can see that this is a ready-made plank. So this is a ready-made, sorry, this is a ready-made joist, and then you can see here so you can see here it has been properly connected with the additional reinforcement. So additional reinforcement is required whenever we go for some additional jointing connection. So then only it behaves as a monolithic action. So site concrete is done at the site purpose. Okay, sorry, site concrete is done for joining all these things. Okay. So next is beam. We know generally what is beam, main beam and secondary beam. So we are going to discuss in that point. So the size is 300 mm to 300 mm, which varies reinforcement. So you can see here they have mentioned 300 into 300 mm. So it is looks like a standard size, and the reinforcement varies depending upon the condition and also the moments. When the moments and are being high, then we go for various reinforcements. So they are mentioned in the first point. And then beams are casted for the clear distance. So this is the main point, because in RCC we go for center to center distance, but in prefabrication we go for clear distance. So we need to know that we go for clear distance between the columns. And a square of 10 centimeter 10 centimeter hole or a depth of 10 centimeter are provided on either side. It is provided because we need to join two beams. Okay, we need to join two beams. So to join two beams, we are going for connection of welding. To weld that, we need some reinforcement which should be on either side. So if we have a top portion, we have front portion with the 10 centimeter hole, at back side we have a 10 centimeter reinforcement, so we can connect that with another beam. So like this only they are connecting both the things. Okay, and then after the welding has been done, we need to take the junction in a proper care. Okay, without a proper care we can't go for good joining conditions. Okay, at the junction of beam and column it is necessary to put site concrete. So we have previously said the site concrete is necessary. So wherever it is required, they have mentioned we need to go for site concrete. And for this purpose, the top end of the beam are tapped properly. So the top end of the beam is tapped properly because to access the site concrete, because site concrete is necessary. So wherever it is required, we need to go for that. So for needle vibrators and to get properly compaction. So here you can see some of the beam images. So you can see that they are just been placed. There is nothing more than that. So it has not been connected. So it has been placed. So we will discuss more things briefly in columns about the connection of beam and column. So you can see that we have some reinforcement to connect with another beam. So another beam will have some holes in the beam. So it will be connected in this way. Okay. So next one is wall panel. The wall panels are casted with all fixing like door, ventilation, window frames. So we in a particular home we have go for we need to go for doors and windows. So this is a main thing. So to get that in prefabrication, they are giving a separate space for that. So the wall panels will be casted based upon that conditions. So they will discuss all these conditions wherever we go for in which place we need to go for door, then we can place some hollow section there. Okay, so the wall panels will be casted based upon the door, ventilation, windows, frames. So wherever we required, we can go for that. These wall panels are non-load bearing wall, therefore neglect solid rectangular cross section wall panel with the RCC from the view of thermal effects and safety. We will discuss thermal effects and safety in next lecture. So the minimum of 150 mm is provided as wall thickness. Okay, so this wall is said to be an sandwich type. That is cellular concrete blocks of 75 mm thick is sandwiched by RCC. So you can see that if you have a panel like this, so the center portion will have some insulating material. Okay, so it is divided into 3 layers. You can see here in this red mark. So it is divided into 3 layers. So the first layer will have some thickness, and second layer have some thickness, and third layer have some thickness. So the second layer is said to be a sandwich type. Okay, it's said to be a sandwich type. So the top and bottom layer are different. Okay, it may be in concrete or it may be a cement plaster. So the center have 75 mm thick. The center one have some 75 mm thick. So next is M25 grade of concrete is commonly used, and the top portion have 37.5 mm. Okay, so 37.5 mm on both the side to provide a cover for that insulating material. And then the walls are in steel molds. There is no need for plastering. So there will be a proper shape and size. So plastering is not necessary in these conditions. So here we are seeing some panels, wall panels, and then columns. Many type of columns are available in prefabricated system. So if you based upon your site condition, you can go for the type of column which you needed. And then grooves are provided on required face to keep the walls in position. So grooves, it is an important one. I will show you an image so you can easily understand what is meant by groove. So these grooves will act as a part of column, and since the area of column has been increased due to nibs. So nibs, we will discuss this, will give additional moment carrying as well as load carrying capacity of the column. At the same time, this groove gives an mild ornamental look to our building. So you can see here in this image, you can see here we have some restriction in sizes. In dimension we have some restriction. So here in this restriction we can place wall panel. Okay, so we can place the wall panel in this groove. So this is said to be a groove. Okay, so this is said to be a groove. We can place the wall panel in column. For placing the wall panel, they will have groove shapes. Okay, so that is mentioned as a groove, and you can see here corbel and nib support. So you need to know what is difference between the corbel and nib support. So I have just shown you in this image. So you can see the precast beam is being placed in the column, but here we have a bearing pad. So this is corbel, which this type of construction we can see in normally in temples. And nib support, so this is nib support. We have bearing pad also, and then it looks like this. So you can see the portion here has been developed here. In nib support we have gone for maximum depth. So this is the difference between nib and corbel. In this particular site we are going for corbel. Okay, but so in this image you are seeing some holes in bottom portion. So these bottom portions are used for connecting with another column. So here you can see the reinforcement. So the reinforcement will be used for so you can see here we have some holes so it is been used for connecting another column. So and then you can see here it has been connected by using welding. So in this place they go for side concrete. So like this only the maximum number of floors is been increased. There is a restriction in floors also depending upon the sizes.